Okay, welcome back to C++ with Dr. Colvin. So today we're going to continue our decision structures, matching numbers that the user enters to match our lotto. So we have a predefined set of numbers that we brute force assigned into our array, and then we have another array that the user will enter 3 guesses. And then I have this variable that will increment depending on how many numbers that they get correct. So there's 3 numbers in my array, and if they get all 3 numbers, then kazaa, they win the lotto, or whatever, So I ask them for a number, they enter first number of the array. I ask for a second number, they enter the second number of the array. Of course, we know that our arrays always start with 0, so 0, 1, 2 would be 3 numbers of my array. Then down below, I'm checking that number against the predefined set in my array. So if the first number matches the first number, then I increment my match nums variable. So now I want to, at the bottom here, instead of just printing out a you matched X number of numbers, a generic statement, I want to actually print out a statement that's more personalized that says you matched 1 number, or you matched all 3 numbers, kazaa, go in, go quit your job, or whatever you want to say. And we can do that using the if statement, or I'm going to introduce another construct that's called the switch case. And it's another decision structure that you can use to make a decision in your code. You did not match any numbers. But it's for exact matches. So you notice that we have an exact match here. I'm comparing everything to an exact number. So instead of doing the exact number here and saying else if match nums is equal to 1, then you have matched 1 number, and then I'm just going to copy and paste this one and on down for 2, and then I'm going to include my else, because my else is going to be my catch-all for anything else other than a 0, 1, 2, or 3. So I got a 0, this will be my 2, you matched 2 numbers, and lastly it'll be a 3, and I'm using an else if versus up here we just used an if, because match num can only hold 1 value. So I'm comparing my match num each time. Up here I was changing the variable, so I needed individual if statements. Down here I'm using the else if because I'm comparing match nums each individual time. So here I'm going to say, congrats, you won the lotto. And then of course my else is going to be my catch-all, where, sorry, it's an invalid entry. And that's usually where I always like to include those just in case you get an invalid entry and it'll catch it instead of popping up an error. So instead of using this if statement, because it's kind of a lot of typing and it's kind of a lot of code and your else if and stuff like that, you can use a switch case. So this is what a switch case would look like if you're using precision-based comparisons, and this is what we're using in this if-else statement. So I'm going to use a switch, and the statement is switch, and then your variable, match nums, and then of course you always start every construct with a curly bracket starting and stopping, and then you do a case for each number or each value that you're comparing. So I'm comparing 0, and then a colon will indicate to the compiler start from here, and then this is the body of my case 0. So I'm just going to copy this because this is my case 0. So after the colon, anything after the colon is the body of your case, and it'll execute until it hits a break statement. And then I can do this for case 1, colon, anything under my case 1 will be the body of my case, and a break. And so what happens is the compiler will come and it'll match the case to the number and then execute anything underneath it, and then find the break and exit out. Just like in the if statement, it'll find the curly bracket, close curly bracket, and exit out. If you don't have a break statement, though, it's not going to give you a syntax error. It will just keep executing until it finds a break statement, and it may be in another case. So if I didn't have a break statement here, my case 0 might be true, but it would execute case 0, and then it would jump down to my case 1, find the break statement here, and exit out. So if I run that, I'm going to comment this if statement out, and I'm going to show you what that would look like. So let's run it. So if I have my lotto numbers, if I have 0 matching, so you notice that it says you did not match any numbers, you matched one number. And that's because I commented out this break. So if you forget a break, it's going to execute until you find that break statement, which happens to be in another case. If you don't have a matching case, you can use this default case, which is just like your else statement down here. So the default is going to be your catch-all. So I will do my default, and this is where I will say invalid. So very, very similar to the if structure, but again, it's using some different syntax, so you have to be careful. It's got the, ooh, I forgot my break. It has the colon, and it has the break statement that we may not be used to. So just watch when you're implementing this switch case, but it is useful for implementing precision-based comparisons.